Hi everyone, Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. Are you your own worst enemy? Stop being hateful to yourself. If your thoughts were able to be heard out loud 24/7, what would they sound like? How hateful and judgmental are you towards yourself? If we're honest, most of our internal thoughts, if we heard them out loud, would really be shocking. And the science is clear that the negativity this creates inside our bodies and minds is toxic. It's no wonder most people feel exhausted, low energy, depressed, and anxious. How do we change this? Let's dive in and sort it out. The first step in any self-exploration and change is to become aware of the reality of your thoughts. Journaling can be helpful when engaging in this first step. Write out your most negative thoughts. Don't censor them. Don't shrink from the truth. Write them down just how they spill out in your most upset times. What do you say about yourself to yourself? What words do you use? What inflection or tone? What would it sound like if you were saying it all out loud all the time? As you write, keep checking yourself and be brutally honest. If you don't want to write about it, spend an entire day becoming aware of all the internal chatter and notice when it goes really negative. What is the trigger? What is the content? And specifically, what are the words and the tone? And how many times a day do you berate yourself with these toxic thoughts? Number 2, how do you feel about how you're talking to yourself? Would you talk to anyone else in your life that way? Would you use that tone or language with anyone you care about? What's the feeling you get when you recognize the reality of this or when you reread what you wrote? Number 3, so we've taken stock of the self-hateful messages we're stewing in. Now we need to take an inventory of all the underlying foundations of judgment that keep this thriving. The 4 main culprits are, number 1, bitterness. We all have stress and challenges. We all have losses, pain, frustrations, times we think we can't face the next thing that doesn't go our way. The truth is we can't choose to have everything go the way we want. We're not that powerful. But we can choose how we respond. We can become bitter or we can become better. Resentment stems from deciding to be angry at ourselves, others, and God or the world or whatever we do or don't believe in. Number 2, focusing on the worst in ourselves. What we focus on becomes who we believe we are and how we see ourselves. Our thoughts literally drive our feelings. Most people don't really understand this fully. The way we think about something drives how we feel about it. So when you point out and harp on the worst aspects of yourself, you build those into a picture of yourself that's only negative. It determines how we feel about ourselves, and it informs everything we do and think. This focus on the negative is a very significant part of fueling our self-hateful thoughts and feelings. Number 3, focusing on the worst in others and the world. Most people expect the worst, or many people expect the worst from everything and everyone. And in the same way, this poisons our beliefs and feelings about ourselves. Focusing on the negative in others and the world drives very negative feelings about life. Generally, this is a defense made up in childhood to try to protect ourselves from being disappointed when things go poorly. But these negative beliefs don't in fact protect you as an adult. They only set you up to always believe in and focus on the worst, and it sets you up to constantly be bitter, negative, and upset. And number 4, harshness, with its close friend, perfectionism. Are you quick to degrade yourself for the smallest mistake? Do you tend to be reactive and harsh towards yourself? We all make mistakes constantly, and when you expect perfection and harshly degrade yourself for every little mistake, you discourage and debilitate yourself. Just like having a really bad coach on a sports team who tears the players down all the time, you will soon feel like not playing anymore. But unlike a coach, you can't get away from you or join a different team. You have to fix the internal coach in your head, or you will live your life feeling discouraged and despairing. So if you've seen yourself in all of the above, what can you do? Number 1, recognize you were not born with this negativity in your head. It was put there by someone else's messages to you, and now you've taken it on as your own voice. It's helpful to ask yourself whose voice this is and to see that it's not you. Number 2, decide you don't want to live with that person railing at you any longer. This is a decision you can make and have to continue to make daily while you practice changing it. Number 3, ask yourself how you treat those you really care about. Are you kind, gentle, encouraging, accepting, and grateful? And number 4, decide you will begin to be your best self to yourself. That's a weird thought, but it's truly possible. Now that you're consciously aware of how badly you beat yourself up, it's time to consciously, gently, and truthfully change the self-talk to be consistent with who you truly are in your best self. Determine to become aware of and improve in how you talk to yourself inside your head. Be aware most consciously of these 5 things. Number 1, be gentle. When you make mistakes, encourage yourself to learn, regroup, make amends if necessary, and move forward. Harping on a mistake just grows that self-hatred. Let it go. Number 2, acceptance. Accepting that we all have a lot of pain, hardship, challenges, and grief in our lives, we can learn to know that whatever it is, we can choose to respond with love, kindness, and caring towards ourselves. When you go through a hardship graciously, others will flock to support you. When you are hateful or self-deprecating to the extreme, others can't get close enough to support you, and you're too bitter to accept it even if they try. Number 3, love. Find ways to love yourself throughout the ups and downs of life. When you are gentle, accepting, and loving towards yourself, you shift the focus onto the love that can weave throughout our lives, even in the midst of hardships. Number 4, gratitude. In all things, give thanks. This seems crazy when you're going through something hard, but when you find gratitude in the midst of challenges, you build your sense of strength, resilience, and confidence that you have the ability to go through hard things. Gratitude is the opposite of entitlement, and it erases bitterness. Even in the darkest times, there are people and things to be grateful for. When you put your attention on these, your heart relaxes into that instead of stewing in the toxic soup of bitterness. Find a sense of meaning and purpose in every experience. This helps you focus on what you can control and gets you out from under the pain that you can't control. So many of the most life-changing organizations and movements were born out of someone's pain. Think about Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, the 911 Fund, Amber Alert, and countless others. When you put your energy into connecting and building, you will find gratification and purpose instead of despair. And finally, listen to your inner voice and check any self-hating or judgmental tones, words, or harshnesses. We will tend to default to that old negative internal voice for a long time, especially when we're tired or stressed. Since it was so loud for so many years, it will be that go-to. So when, not if, but when you hear those harsh words coming at you again, stop, calm yourself. Remind yourself to be kind, gentle, accepting, loving, encouraging, and supportive of you. In summary, reintroduce the best you to the beat-up you, and let the best you shine brightly through the darkness to uphold, encourage, and support the broken, hurting you, and celebrate all of the best of you that there is. If you've appreciated this video, please like it and subscribe. And please share it on your social media. You never know when something that you share might help somebody else. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.